The question for today is, how do I convert my old pedal bike into an electric bicycle? Well, we might have asked though, why do you want an electric bike? You could go further, or just make it easier. Do you want to just go fast? You could even replace a car. So, you have some options. Just go buy an electric bike. Yay, you're done. You could convert your old bike though. If you decide to convert your own bike, you can go buy a complete kit, or you can do it all yourself and piece it all together. I've lived in cities where car parking was extremely challenging or expensive. With an electric bike, you could just carry your bike up the stairs into your apartment, then just plug it in next to your cell phone. You're done. Maybe the cost of a car is just more than you can afford. You could buy a really nice electric bike for a few $100s, or convert your existing bike for even less than that. An electric bike is typically not insured, and there aren't any licensing issues yet. Maintenance is basically just tires, and you can do everything with modest hand tools. An electric bike might also take the place of a second car. If you're sharing a car, you could do the big errands with the car and use the electric bike for day-to-day. So, for today's video, here's a quick breakdown of how I converted 2 of my bicycles to electric bikes. It's not very difficult, but you may want to invest in some of the specialty tools for bicycles. A basic set of hand tools and a set of Allen wrenches, and you're set. If you opt to just buy a ready-to-roll electric bike, you'll end up paying more for it, but everything will probably work, which is a clever shortcut. You could probably also pay a bike shop to convert your bike for you. They already know what they're doing and have the tools to do it right. When looking at electric bike parts and kits, try to think of how you plan to ride the bike. If you have to get to school, how far is it? Will you be pedaling or just ride the bike like a scooter? How big are the hills? Will you be planning to haul groceries? Some electric bikes are more like scooters, so they might be really comfortable to just ride, but not as easy to pedal. If you like pedaling, pay attention to the sitting position and the seat. A scooter seat might not be as comfortable if you are pedaling a lot. Here's a quick overview of the electric bike parts or kit and how to do the conversion. First, you get a choice. Do you want the motor in the front or the back wheel? You'll need to know what size your bike wheel is. Most mountain bikes are 26 inches, for example. So you'd want a 26-inch front or rear hub motor kit. Hub motor means the motor is part of the wheel itself. That makes it pretty easy, because you can just remove the old wheel and install the new one. You could even share one powered wheel between 2 different bicycles, so you could have your cruiser and your mountain bike. Next, you can decide how big you want the motor to be. The smallest normal hub motors will be 250 watts. For reference, a fit person can pedal about 250 watts, so if you know you can ride up a hill on your own, the 250 watt motor should also be able to do it for you. If you are also pedaling, you could practically double your power with a 250 watt motor. If you want to go faster or haul more cargo, then you might look at a 500 watt motor or even bigger. You should check your local regulations. There are sometimes limits to motor sizes or speeds. Also, I've heard some public lands or trails may limit motor sizes. 250 watts is probably okay everywhere though. For my bikes, I have 250 watt Bafang hub motors on the front wheels on 2 different bicycles, and they do really well. One of my bikes I use to haul groceries home. My trip is 30 miles round trip, and I may haul 30 to 40 pounds of canned goods on a typical trip, on a gravel and sand road. I pedal a lot and use the 250 watt motor as an assist maybe 30% of the time. By pedaling most of the time, I don't need as big of a battery pack. An electric bike kit may give an estimated range for the battery. They are probably assuming you will also be pedaling. There does not seem to be any standard on how far you can go on any electric bikes. And with so many factors like the rider weight, is the road paved, wind, hills, even tire pressures can make a difference. The electric bike or kit will need a motor controller box, which converts the battery power to power the motor. You can't just hook the motor to the battery in most cases. The controller box will probably have some kind of controls and a display, so you can see the battery voltage or power level, as well as to set your power assist levels. If you want to go fast, you can turn up the power. If you want to go far, you turn the power down and then you pedal more. This way you can save the power for the big hills. There are a few sensors and accessories you'll probably want to know about. One of these is the PAS, or pedal assist sensor. This will tell the controller that you are actually pedaling. With the PAS, as you start pedaling, the motor starts up automatically and you don't need to use a throttle. The brake levers on your bike conversion will probably need to be replaced. Electric bike brake levers have a small switch in them to tell the controller that you are using the brakes. When you hit the brakes, the controller stops sending power to the motors automatically. You might also want to add a throttle to your bike, so you can just start going and not have to pedal. There are thumb throttles and twist grip throttles, like what a motorcycle would have. I've used both, and it's a personal preference. If your bike has twist grip gear shifting, however, the twist grip throttle won't really be a good option. I think you would be happier with the thumb throttle, at least that's what I found. The motor controller display unit may have controls for your bike lights, so you might have a button to press to turn the headlight on, which could then be powered from the main bicycle battery. Next, let's talk about the electric bike battery. The battery will probably be the most expensive part of your electric bike build. The bigger the battery, the further or faster you can go. I've seen several electric bike reviews where they pointed out that the battery pack is proprietary, so you couldn't just use a generic battery. Electric bike batteries are typically a lithium-type battery, the same as cell phones and laptops. They have incredible energy capacity per weight. They also should last several years of daily riding, so it's worth the investment to buy a good one. If you buy a kit, all the parts should be included, but if you want to do it all yourself, you'd probably start by choosing the motor, then find a controller and battery pack that matches. So it could be 36 volts and a 250 watt motor with a 36 volt battery pack. Or for a hot rod, a 48 volt motor and battery pack. Could be 750 watts or even a 1000 watt motor. If your electric bike isn't proprietary, you may be able to make your own battery, or buy a surplus battery and repurpose it. If you want to go riding and not spend a lot of time tinkering, you could just buy a kit with everything, spend a few hours, and be set. If you enjoy knowing how things are put together, or if you want to have the option to swap parts, or choose specific parts, each individual part of the electric bike can be found online or probably in local bike shops. I went a very DIY approach on my electric bikes, but that took me a lot longer, with some time and money lost to a few dead ends. For example, I built my battery pack up from surplus batteries. I bought used packs, took them apart, re-spot welded the cells back together, and then wired in a battery management system. Maybe not the best use of time, and I'm still dealing with some problems there. The motor and front wheel I'm using came from a rental fleet of bikes. They turned out to be in really good shape and seemed to be working fine. I bought the brake levers, throttles, pedal assist sensors as individual parts. None of their wire harness connectors matched the motor controller I bought. The motor controller and display unit came together, so at least those did have matching connectors. I had to cut and solder a lot of wire connectors to get things to work, but in the end, it is mostly working now. I live about 15 miles from town, so for me to go check my mail or go buy a Coke, it's a 30-mile round trip. Most days I can bicycle that without an electric bike assist, but it takes about 4 hours round trip, and I'm pretty tired and sore the next day. I end up going to town once or twice a week to check packages. With the electric bike, I can get into town easier, faster, and I'm way less tired. And if I do run out of power on the battery, I know I can still pedal myself home anyway. On an electric bike conversion, you can get more life out of the bike you already have. You can go further with the assist than you would want to ride without it. Or you can go faster, and it would be easier. Maybe you could ride your electric bike to work and not be exhausted when you got there. Okay, that's all I have for now. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you'd like more videos like this. If you're really a hardcore about DIY, I spent quite a bit of time trying to make my own electric bike project from a pile of scrap parts. Some parts even worked. And as always, a special thank you to my supporters on Patreon and YouTube members. I really couldn't do this without you. Okay, bye for now.